Hello YouTubers, Zia the Elder here of Veloharmony. Today I wanted to do a video talking about chains, how you check your chain for wear, and actually in how you remove and replace them. So I'm going to go ahead and focus the camera on the chain because I'm going to be using this Park tool to explain exactly how you check for wear. So I'm going to bring the camera closer so you're not going to see me much, you'll just hear my commentary and see what I'm doing. I want you guys to really get the details of this. Park makes a tool. This is called the CC 3.2. It's a chain checker tool. It has two different sides. I don't know if it'll show up, it might. One side is 0.5 down here, and on the other side is 0.75. But basically what it does is, when it's 0.5, you can still use the chain. That means the chain is not completely worn. When it's 0.75, you need to replace the chain. I have a customer that brought this bike in for a headset, and he wanted me to go over the whole bike. I've checked everything, and I found out quite easily. Basically, you put the tool anywhere on the chain, in any link, and when you drop it, you can see on his bike, it went all the way through. And this is the side with 0.75. So I called him immediately and told him, ride your other bike, I'm going to order you a new chain. This is an Ultegra chain we're putting here. It's a Dura-Ace Grupo, but you know, why pay $100 for Dura-Ace chain? We're going to use the Ultegra chain because that's what he has on there anyway. It's a $30 chain. So I basically told him, don't ride it anymore, ride the other bike, because there's a chance that I don't know how long this has been worn, because it's my first time working on his bike. He used to take it to the bike shop and he wasn't very happy with the LBS. So he's bringing it to me now. And I wanted to just make sure that when we put the new chain on there, that the sprockets are not worn. Because sometimes when you let the chain go too long, it starts to wear the sprockets back here. When you put a new chain on there, it's going to skip. So both sides, this is the point. If the 0.75 goes in, definitely the 0.5 goes in. So the way you use this chain checker tool is, if 0.5 doesn't go in, your chain's good. If 0.5 goes in, then it says, start getting ready to replace your chain. At 0.75, stop using it, put a new chain on there. Chains are $30, cassettes are $300 plus. So do the math. Chains are more disposable, they're cheaper. So it's better to replace your chain and wait for it to wear stuff. So you can see this is completely worn. When I put the new chain in there, I will show you how the chain checker basically looks on a chain that's not worn. So I just wanted to point that out. So we're going to continue when I actually break the chain to put the new one on there so you can see that. So basically this is a 10-speed chain. It's nothing special. So I've put on my gloves. You know, if you have nitrile gloves, it's always good to have so you don't get all these solvents on your hand. I'm using a Pedro's chain tool here. It basically handles everything from 8 speed all the way to 11, and the setting for 10 speed is the 2 dots in there. So I'm going to just go ahead. You can break the chain anywhere because you're just taking it off the bike. So basically I'm going to set it in here. Let's move this back a little bit. Line that up. And we're just taking it off. I mean, this is basically trashed. So you just make sure it's straight. It gets on the pin. You can use any chain tool. I like this one because it has more leverage. The little ones for the road are okay when you have an emergency. But basically you're going to push the pin all the way out. You can see it's all the way out there. And just basically the chain is broken in half. Spin that out, you can see it just kind of snapped out. And it's history. So the pin is still here that I pushed out. There it is. I don't know if you can see that. That's the pin that came out. So I'm going to take the chain out. You notice I had it on small. It just makes it easy to work there. Some people put them on like a big to get the chain wound in there, but I don't see what the point is for that. I basically do everything on small because that's where you want to set the length of the chain anyway. So that wheel really needs to be clean. So the chain is basically going to be disposed of. And I've got the new chain over here. I'm using a 6701, basically a 10-speed Shimano chain. They call it 6701. That's the new model. They work. They work for 105. They work for Dura-Ace as well as Ultegra. And they come with a pin for you to join the chain. That's the pin. We'll put that over here. Basically, out of the back. The big thing I want to point out here is when you're joining new chains, doesn't matter whether it's Shimano or Campy, this part, don't separate the link from the open side, basically the female side. Always take the links out from the male side. This side. It just maintains the integrity and strength of the chain better. They tell you in the documentation, but that's just the way to do it. So basically, I'm going to feed the chain through. I'm going to put it through the front derailleur here. And try to use just the gears to get it through. A little tricky, but it's just fiddly, that's all. There we go. Got it through. Okay. And basically, I'm just going to put it on the small chain ring there. I'm putting it on the small cog as well. Now, when you come back here, turn the camera this way. Get it a little closer. Kind of focus it. I'll give you a really good view there. Shows very well. But basically, you want to make sure that behind, let's see, get the revolution away from that angle. Go here. So there is a little thing right here that you want to make sure in the middle. Let me point to it right here. You want to make sure your chain goes inside of that. Easy to miss that sometimes if you're not paying attention. And that's just not the way to do it. You gotta make sure your chain goes inside that little notch right there. There's a little notch right there. Put your chain inside of it, and then the back of this one, and also there's a second notch back here on the back of this roller, so that when it's on the big chain ring, when it stands like this, you're inside both pulleys. Let me bring the camera back here. Right there. So now it's inside there, and you can see the determination of the length of the chain is really very simple. You want to make sure that there is no rub. Move the camera just a little bit over here. You don't want anything touching this cage right there. If the chain is too long, it can rub there. So you want to set it to where the chain does not rub. That's why you go small chain ring, small cog in the back, meaning the biggest cog in the back. I'm going to turn on this side so you can see. Stop the wheel. You can see right there how the chain is too long. You don't want it touching there, so you want to make sure that you determine where you're going to put the link. See right there, the little tension on there? It's really very relative. I personally like to make my chain a little loose and not have too much tension. Right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like about 5 links. I like my chain just a little loose. See, if I did that right there, see that? That would be touching. So I'm going to pull it a little bit, just a little tension on it, to where you really want about 1 centimeter. So right there seems to be perfect. And you want to do it the way you get a male. So right there seems to be perfect. Because if I did here, because you only got a male, it's a male on every link there. You don't want to go female. So there's a male here. And if I did that, look, that would be touching. You can see it back there. Whereas If I did this, it's not touching. So you want to go only as far as you need to for it not to touch. You don't want to put too much tension where it's like this. Then your chain is too tight. And you just really, it takes too much watts and the wear. So I'm holding it here because right here, it would be too loose. And it can rub, you can see that. But then I go over one full length to the next nail. And boom, look at that. So you got that's about a centimeter, just a little over. So then you just hold that link. And that's where you're gonna basically, you're gonna break the chain there. So I'm gonna go ahead and break the link. I've put it in my chain tool here. I put the chain in the chain tool. It's still kind of loose yet. I'm gonna break where I measured. You hear that snap? I'm taking it all the way out because I'm gonna use a pin to connect them. So it's loose. It goes through, feel it. It's completely out. This will be discarded. Spin my tool back. And basically, that's what we're getting rid of. I'm going to take the pin out of there. Okay. Now, the pin that was shipped by Shimano is in here. It has a guide on there. I'm going to take that out of the bag. That's what you use to join your chain. So I usually like to go from the drive side to the other side. Now it's important that, I don't know if you can see on this camera, I'm going to try to bring it close enough to see, hopefully it can focus. There are different designs on the chain. There is a stamp on these chains. I'm hoping that this will pick it up. It basically has the branding. It says Ultegra on there. You've got to make sure when you do Shimano chains, the 6700 is what they call an asymmetric chain, meaning that it's designed to work in a particular direction, in one direction. So you need to make sure that the stamped side with the Ultegra name is facing the outside, basically, not the bite. So that's why all the stamped stuff is on this side. Don't install it any other way or you'll have problems with the function of the chain and the longevity. It just won't work right. So to make it easy, now that I have cut where I want the length to be, I'm just gonna let it lay off the chain ring. It takes the tension off the chain so I can get this pin in there. I'm gonna put the pin in there. So you get the male into the female. And remember, the female was the original one. You cut the link from the male side. And I'm gonna go ahead and just use the guide and get that in there. And it's in there. And now you can see the chain just stays together. So then I'm gonna take my chain tool and line that up. Move this back so that that pin is straight. I'm gonna put my finger on it, back this off a little bit because it's kind of long. You back off your chain. So now the pin is lined up. And you gotta make sure it's straight. I'm gonna hold it and it's sitting in there properly. So now I'm gonna drive it through because the guide is just there for you to start. Now it gets easy right there. When it breaks through the first one, it gets easy. So now, it's very easy right now, and now it tightens up a little bit now because it's getting to the second plate. So now it's tight, and you'll be able to see, you can look and see the pin. When it gets easy again, I'm going to stop. There. It got easy right there because I don't want to drive it too far in. I just want it to be flush. I just want it to be flush with. I'm going to back it off and look at it. Maybe I can bring the camera closer so you can see what I'm seeing. I'm going to back it off. Yeah, that looks very nice. Let's see. Can I get you in there? It's hard to see really. I'm gonna take this all out of the chain tool. And this is where I'm joining. You can see where this pin is still on the other side. And that is flush. And then you check to see if it's loose. And if it's not, you can wiggle it a little bit because I can see that it's flush. I'm just eyeballing it and it looks flush. And the trick was, it got tight initially when it went through, then it got loose in the middle, then when it hit the other side, it got tight. Then it got loose once it's seated. And that's how you know it. So this thing on the other side can just break off. This chain tool has, this is not the Shimano tool and all that. This is a universal tool by Pedro's, and it will work with Campy and any chain. That's why I like it. See that little hole there? I'm gonna put the guide in there, and that's what it's designed for. You put the guide in there and just break it off, and it basically breaks off. It's stuck in the chain in my wheel back here, but basically it's designed to break off the guide, and you hear that it's just snapped off. The guide dropped, and that's basically the guide. I don't know if you can see that with my glove in a way. That's the guide. It just dropped off. So this is designed, the back side of this tool, that hole slipped off, they can just snap it off. It's easy. I like the universal tool because it'll work with all the different chains. And you always want to check the link that you just put in there to make sure that it is not messed up. Now, what is recommended, if you ever need to shorten this chain, let's say you went from a 42 to a 39 or a 39 to a 36 chain ring and you needed to shorten the chain, try not to do it on where you did this. I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot because you really can't tell the difference. I couldn't tell. I can't even find it anymore. And that's how you want it. You don't want the link to be stiff to where you can find it. So now we have a new chain. I'm going to back this off so I can show you what the tool, the chain checker, will show us. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the small chain ring. You can see how quick that was. It's easy. When this thing is resting against the frame, try not to spin the cranks because it's nice. Now, if you look back here. You should be able to put your finger between the derailleur. See right there? That's about a centimeter. A centimeter is 10 millimeters. That is perfect. And that's all you need. Small. It's not super tight. You don't want it super tight. See that? You want that nice and loose. And that's the way you do that. So I'm going to get the chain checker tool and put it on there. I'm going to get the chain checker tool and put it on there. So just to show you guys what a new chain records on the chain checker tool. So now this is a chain checker tool I showed you earlier. This is the 0.5 side on the bottom. That's the 0.5, which says the early wear. I'll put it in the link. Now you see the difference? The chain that I just took off, if you remember, the 0.75, which is extra wear, had fallen all the way through. This chain is a new chain. It hasn't stretched. And you see, I'm trying to push this thing down. I can't get that tool to go down. Look, that lets you know these things work. This is better than trying to guess, oh, well, I've used it for a year. It's been a season. Well, this way, you don't have to guess because I have several bikes. Depending on which one I use the most, I might have more wear than on the others. So that's the way to do it. So now there it is. That's pretty much how you do your chain replacement, and that's how you check for wear. So thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned to the channel for more content.